so they hold on to this gold for some reason, and therefore something has to give, or are we going to keep trying to waste more money and time patching this system together? Just last week there was a report that Iran purchased $75 billion worth of gold, took their reserves out of Europe, bought gold and put it in Asia. So is that a sign of the times, and is that moving on? Now my question is, in your meetings, and you had a meeting just recently with other central bankers, does this thought come up about a new international world reserve currency? And if so, does the subject of gold ever come up? How do you restore the confidence? Have you recently had conversation with any central banker? And is there a move on to replace the dollar system? Because this dollar system is essentially declared dead. Because it's not working. But this indeed was predictable because of these tremendous imbalances that were never allowed to be corrected, and they were always patched up. We always came in. We'd spend. We'd inflate. We would run up deficits. And since '71, we've been able to correct these problems. Could you tell me what kind of conversations you've had regarding a new reserve currency?
Yes, Congressman. I don't think the dollar system is dead. I think the dollar remains the premier international currency. We've seen a good bit of appreciation in the dollar recently during the crisis, precisely because there's been a lot of interest in the safe haven and the liquidity of dollar markets. And the Federal Reserve has been engaged in swap agreements to make sure there's enough dollar liquidity in other countries because the need for dollars is so strong. So I think the dollar system remains quite strong. I do agree with you very much on one point, which is about the current accounts. The current account imbalances have proved to be a very serious problem. It was, in fact, the large capital inflows from those current accounts which created a lot of the financial imbalances we saw and have led to some of the problems we're seeing. And one of the silver linings in this huge gray cloud is that we're seeing some improvement in greater balance in our current account deficits.
Notice how Chairman Ben Bernanke doesn't answer Ron Paul's question about a world currency, but admits to liquidating, printing more money out of thin air and giving it to other countries, kind of a global welfare, as you may see put.
Hello again. China's central bank has made another call for the creation of a super sovereign reserve currency to reduce global domination of the U.S. dollar. That's a dominance that the People's Bank of China thinks exacerbated the financial crisis. This China's Zhou Xiaoye has more.
In the PBOC's annual financial stability report, it says an international monetary system dominated by a single sovereign currency has intensified the concentration of risk and the spread of the crisis. The central bank report urges the International Monetary Fund to exercise closer supervision of the economic and financial policies of major reserve issuing countries. The report reinforced a call by the bank's governor Zhou Xiaochuan for the creation of a super sovereign currency. In an essay in late March, Zhou caused a stir by suggesting that special drawing right, or SDR, the IMF's unit of account, could eventually display the dollar as the principal reserve currency. Friday's report not only advocated a full role for the SDR, but said that IMF should be entrusted with managing a portion of its member countries' foreign currency reserve.
The Federal Reserve System, a banking system, a private central banking system for that matter, not the real Treasury Department, has the ability to print out more money and appropriate more money than the Congress or the President could ever dream of.
International bankers deal not with the general public, but with the industrial giants of the world, with other financial institutions, and especially with governments. The key to their success has been to control and manipulate the money system of a nation, while letting it appear to be controlled by the government. The net effect is to create money out of nothing, lend it to the government, and then collect interest on it. A rather profitable transaction, to say the least. For example, in 1694, international banker William Patterson obtained the charter of the Bank of England, and the power over England's money system fell into private hands. In a boastful mood, Patterson said, "The bank hath benefit of interest on all monies which it creates out of nothing." 230 years later, Reginald Makina, British Chancellor of the Exchequer, said, "The banks can and do create money, and they who control the credit of the nation direct the policy of governments and hold in the hollow of their hands the destiny of the people." Turning to the United States, Dr. Quigley tells us, "The structure of financial controls created by the tycoons of big banking and big business in the period 1880 to 1933 was of extraordinary complexity, one business fief being built on another, both being allied with semi-independent associates, the whole rearing upward into two pinnacles of economic and financial power. One, centered in New York, was headed by J.P. Morgan and Company, and the other, in Ohio, was headed by the Rockefeller family. When these two cooperated, as they generally did, they could influence the economic life of the country to a large degree, and could almost control its political life, at least on the federal level."
Ron Paul's bill, Audit the Fed, has passed the House, but before it passed the House, the Senate version was blocked by the Senate, but a special attempt was made to push it through, and it was blocked by a bogus provision. Now people are angry and want to know where their money is, and they want to know where it is right now. Because the Federal Reserve System is a private central bank that prints money out of nothing, not based on gold or silver, out of 100% fiat currency.